So, hello guys.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, I am here again with Tina, and today we have a very spicy topic.
Yes,
Probably one that might trigger some people, and also something that we spend so much time and energy into that, and we just want to unpack this whole manifestor identity.
yes.
So Tina, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear this?
About manifestor identity. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, maybe the first thing that comes to mind is that while I was doing it, the manifestor identity, I didn't realize that it was kind of a bad thing or something that was actually hindering my manifestation. So I had like no idea. I thought that manifestation is something that, okay, you are doing some techniques, then you are kind of waiting to see what's going on in 3D and how those techniques are impacting your 3D. And yeah, but but pretty soon it came kind of apparent to me that okay, there is something going on here that is not, at least it wasn't working for me. So, what's your story? Was it working for you when you were in that identity?
So at first, when I came across Neville's teachings, I was already familiar with, The Secret. And before that, some yoga philosophy and meditation. But when I read Neville's stuff, I was like, oh my God, wow, now I have all the power. I can control everything. I can do whatever the heck I want. I'm completely free. And of course, this was the ego speaking. It was like, oh my God, yeah, I am God. I can do everything.
Yeah.
And at first, yeah, there was some success, but it slipped through my fingers like sand. And then I was like, okay, what's going on? And then, okay, I have to control my thoughts, like mental
Yes.
diet. And this will go to the point where socializing became more like a challenge instead of something that is meant to be enjoyed because I was like, no, I have to stay on top of my thoughts. I cannot get distracted. I cannot let any
Ah,
thoughts slip by.
okay.
And
So you were kind of thinking that, okay, you have to focus like the whole time, so that you would have the right thoughts, like in a way that you weren't kind of, if you were with other people, then you might slip from that. Or was that kind of your thought about it?
yeah, I had definitely let's call it a phase with
Yeah.
this. But then I finally, well, thank God I reached a point where I was like, no, this took a toll on my mental health. I don't care about this. I don't want this. And then, of course, resources and people show up to support you to reflect that. And I was able to, no, this was actually my introduction into the IM teachings. It was in 2020, in late 2020, actually, but I was still tackling it from the perspective of a human trying to get to source.
Mm,
And some things work, being like zooming out at the back of your head and being like the observer, which helped me to really distance myself from thoughts and to reduce the anxiety
yeah.
about the whole stuff or bullshit called thoughts create and like this
Mm,
mental gymnastics. But still, there was this control aspect, like with the techniques, and like it was one foot in awareness and one foot still in the character. Like, yeah, I understand techniques, we can use them to experience or to explore what's beyond the physical senses or beyond the 3D. But there was still this aspect, yeah, I'm doing this to get something. When I do
yes.
this and when I persist in that and identify as this upgraded identity, like my best version of myself, then I will experience the life that I desire. But
Yeah.
then this would feed even more into this seeking identity. If something didn't work as I wanted or as my ego wanted, I was like, okay, I have to fix this. Let's see. And then, yeah, then I would go into like courses or more books or booking coaching sessions with
Yeah,
like here and there, you know. And yeah, but deep down, I know everything was already perfectly laid out to lead me to where I am now, and to see, even though there was so much energy invested, it wasn't wasted, even though it felt like that. But now we
yeah.
can talk about this from personal experience, you know?
Yes, yes, nothing
Yes.
nothing is ever wasted in that way. Did you have a period, because I had it for a long time, the period of okay, so why did this happen? Like which assumption caused this thing? Did you have that kind of period that you were kind of looking at the reflections and thinking, oh, but this is still happening, the old pattern is still coming up, uh I'm not yet, I'm not yet the one that I want to be. What assumptions do I still have here that are kind of blocking me? Because that was a big one for me, this thing. And also before that, maybe the thing that okay, I should be focusing on this, that I should be thinking about this thing a lot, like from the right perspective. So these were kind of two things that were kind of biggies for me.
Yeah, I had some like experiences with that. And it would lead me to, shadow work. And then, okay, I
Yeah,
have to integrate my shadow to be whole and to make peace with all parts of me. And I mean, nothing is wrong with that, but it will still come from an identity that feels fragmented, that has to collect all of her pieces to be whole again. And then again, would use this tool in order to get something. Like
yeah,
if I do this, and also if I heal trauma, then I can be in my full power and be on top of the world. And yeah, even it helped me, of course, to embrace emotions and to be like, okay, thoughts don't matter. If I don't grab onto them, if I don't identify with them, they don't really matter.
yeah.
But you can also go from one extreme into the other. You keep looking for wounds
Yes,
and
yes,
beliefs and blah 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 blah.
yeah,
And of course, if what you put your attention on, you will see more, because it's like
yeah.
walking through a cave with your flashlight on, and then
Yes,
you, of course, it will appear as if you dig out more beliefs to look at.
of
And
course.
so, yeah,
You just
and
multiply and multiply. So it was the same with me and with my assumptions and thinking with self concept, which I thought at first thought that, oh, this is great. That because law of attraction like never talked about self concept. So I was like, oh, this is great. But then it kind of, backfired that okay, oh, my self concept is still not high enough, because this is the reflection that is showing like in 3D. So it was this constant kind of monitoring of okay, so what's there still to do, as with
mhm.
your shadow work, I guess. And then it just leads to this okay, there is always something. If you are looking for blocks, you are going to find them, of course.
Yeah, and we can play this game for eternities, for
Yes,
lifetimes.
yes.
um, yeah, and but I went from the one extreme to the other until I was like, okay, what's going on? And eventually it will balance itself out, if this makes sense.
Yeah,
And then, yeah, people would always talk about self-concept, but it gets so easily confused with, yeah, embodying the best version of yourself, which is just upgraded version of the ego. But
yeah.
now, since we talk about who we, or better said, what we really are,
Mm.
self-concept which is the foundation of existence, of all existence. What you really are is the formless, faceless, infinite awareness, which has no beliefs, no
Yeah,
story, no attachments. It's not
yeah.
I am and something added to it, it's I am before anything else.
Yes, yes, yes. And
Hmm.
self concept, I think, is is nice in this kind of human experience. If you are coming from let's call it a low self concept, and you want to feel, and of course I'm talking about like lots in connection with SP manifestation. If you want to feel that you are chosen, if you want to feel magnetic and things like that, they are nice experiences, but they are still like experiences for the character. And as such, okay, you can want to feel like that, but it's still it's not the self concept, that kind of a self concept, that can ultimately give you what you actually desire and want, and that fulfillment that you are looking for. And it was all one condition: I have to have a good self concept, that every guy had to reflect my my self concept. So it was a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, even the best self concept from a human perspective is still a manifestation. Every
Yes.
character is a manifestation, but it's not the foundation on which a house is built. It's the house, but it's not the foundation. And what we did, like so many people struggle because they try to manifest from a shaky foundation. As long as you are identified as a human and think, okay, your manifestation are out there and you have to go through this process from A to B, and you are trying to get something that you already are without
Yes.
recognizing it, then yeah, it's like looking for yourself in a mirror when you know you are the one who's standing in front of it. Or even better said, you are the mirror itself. You are not what's in the mirror, what's reflected in the mirror. You are the mirror itself. And you can not build a good house on a shaky foundation, but the solid foundation we are speaking about again is this pure infinite awareness, also just knowing as the stillness which is always here, which never left.
Yeah, yeah. And I can, now that I'm looking back, I don't know like what was the turning point for me. It was so subtle. It was kind of a process in a way, that I really realized all the conditions that I have put, on, if we're just talking about manifestation, that okay, would God have to affirm, like robotically affirm, or to do sets, or have the perfect self concept, and things like that. So that's where I started to kind of question this thing, that all these conditions that we put in front of, okay, I must do this, like this and this technique, and I must do it like this in order to get it. So that kind of started to ring a bell, that there is something wrong with this whole thing.
Yeah, definitely. And it comes from the same conditioning of doing to get. You have
Yes.
to do this in order to get there. But this is something that we have to completely drop. It's like as long as we identified as humans, we lived our lives backwards.
Mm.
So we were doing all of these things, like we picked up like what we learned in school or from parents and then from university or job, whatever, and from society. And we followed that without questioning it, without
Yes.
questioning, okay, who is saying all of this? And is this actually coming from me? Or did I just pick it up and followed it without questioning it? And then we would distract ourselves from our true self by all of this noise and, hustle and do this, do that. And manifestation also became like spiritual hustle culture because
Yes.
physical action was replaced by mental action,
Yes.
and
Yes.
still the action will be taken from a forceful place, still
Yeah.
thinking, oh, you are a separate little human and you are totally responsible for everything, and if you don't do this or that, and everything will fall apart and crumble down and blah 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 blah. But this is just survival fear, this is just the ego talking. And even the ego, it's not a tangible thing. Same as like mind. Mind is also not a
Yes.
tangible thing. It's just a collection of thoughts
Yeah.
and some feelings attached to this, which you confused as you.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. And what I see in my clients is kind of, okay, they say, but I keep telling myself that I am source, or I keep telling myself that I am now in this relationship, but it's still so kind of mind based, and it's sometimes it's difficult for me to explain to someone that what the difference is. Like, okay, I can tell myself that, okay, I am now in this relationship if I want to, but it's still the words are kind of the same, but it still comes from a different address, as we say in Finland. It comes from a different paradigm, and it's not the words that you say or do, but who is saying them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What do they mean? Because affirmations were, like, for me, they were they were doing. I was trying to change something, but now when I say, and it's not an affirmation, it's a thought. Now when I say, like, okay, I am in this relationship, now it is truth, and I don't have to repeat it. It's just my choice of what I want to experience at that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I had a amazing quote by Robert Adams, which I read today. I am rereading his book, and he said something like, "Affirmations are kindergarten. That's just to improve your humanhood." And I had to laugh so hard. I was like, "Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
true." Because who needs affirmations, guys? Really ask yourself, why do you think you need affirmations?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that it was what Brittany said from I am with Brittany. The character thing, that kind of maybe was the thing that hit home for me. That who is the character, and you are not the character. You are none of these identities. And then everything kind of, it wasn't sudden, but it everything kind of turned around, and it's a totally new way of looking at things. And as we talked with you earlier, nothing wrong with, because humans, so when we are kind of identified with this human, so we have inner conversations within ourselves. We have thoughts, or the thoughts appear to us, let's say like that. Images appear, visualizations appear, but then they are kind of a natural part of, also a natural part of being human, but also it's hard to explain, but somehow kind of as awareness, we are still communicating, even though like pure awareness doesn't have thoughts as such. So nothing wrong with these things, but it's more about who are you when you're having those visualizations, and what do you want to just enjoy the experience, because being a multidimensional being, okay, now I know that I am this identity and this version also, and now I want to enjoy this thing, this visualization, that okay, I am now I'm now doing this, or I'm now with my SP or something like that. And then it's not to get anything, it's experience, to experience what already is.
And one of my takeaways from these teachings, or what we have been discussing, is really we tried so hard to morph this one particular character into
Yes.
another, thinking this is the only thing we have, and we have to morph it into something that it will never be.
Yeah.
That's the thing, guys. That's because it creates so much resistance and discomfort, because it's like trying to inject a new program into a software that has already a program and it's
Yeah.
running it perfectly. So, for example, if you are seeing a character on the screen and you identify it as them, someone who probably had trouble with money their entire lives, they want all of a sudden turn into a witch character.
Yeah.
But the good news is you are not bound by any of these stories or to a form because, as we said, you are multidimensional. Infinite versions of the character exist within you. So you can leave this alone. And if you want to play with this, you know there's also a version of you, your character, who has always been witch, who is a completely different future and past, like a complete different storyline. It's another software with
Yeah.
another program injected in it, and it's running the program. Yeah, I am wealthy, I am rich, I have all the money in the world, blah 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 blah. Mm.
Yeah, yeah, and somehow it's comforting, even though it feels cruel, but to know that okay, this one character is never going to get, you know, the thing. The poor character exists, and the rich character exists, and everything in between. And this character who is now having these thoughts that I'm never gonna get it, I'm never gonna get it. She's absolutely right because she is not the one who will get it. So it has been like so freeing to realize that I don't have to do anything with this character who doesn't believe that she will get the money or the relationship or whatever, because she is never going to believe it. And what I can do is to just observe her or realize that I am not her anymore because I have a new desire, I have made a new decision, a new choice, and all that I have to do is drop her. That is kind of that has been so life changing for me that I don't have to like force myself to uh, create someone new because the someone new is already waiting for the in the wings waiting to be played. but but it's more about dropping the old one.
And guys, listen to what she said again. When she said, the character who says, "Oh my God, I'm never going to get it. I cannot believe that this will ever happen to me. It's impossible. It's so hard." Yep, this character is right. And
Yes.
this is where flipping thoughts and affirmations become a hindrance because these thoughts would only feed into that identity that you no longer want to see.
Yes.
And they distract you also from the stillness, like the perfection that is right underneath them. And humans or characters, it's the same, have been programmed or conditioned to believe they need thoughts to function. But look closely. Do you have to think to stay alive, to make your heart beat, to breathe, to do basic everyday things, or do they happen on their own?
Yeah.
And thoughts and feelings cannot hurt you, no matter how intense or crazy they are, but this can only be realized when you know you're not the one who is feeling or thinking them. You are the infinite awareness, the stillness in which they appear. But you can also look closely. Can you grab feelings or thoughts? Can you save them? Can you put them away? No, they are illusion. And when you dive into the core of them, you will find that they have no substance. And how can something that has no substance have power? Like, really
Yeah.
ask yourself this question or dive into this.
Yeah.
Because we have been giving thoughts and feelings so much power. Like, for
Yeah.
example, this feeling thing, as if we have to do something with them, feel all these feelings fully and completely, hold all the space. Yeah, but often this can lead to holding on to feelings instead of just letting them pass through you.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that the thing is that with we think about like the traditional way of manifesting, people are trying to build belief. And that's always a mental thing. Like you have to program your subconscious mind in order to believe. And belief is also a feeling. So you are kind of going through many hoops, and now this nervous system regulation thing that you have to feel safe to get something. And that's a false premise where you are starting. You don't have to feel anything special, you don't have to believe anything special to get what you want. And most of these techniques are aimed at creating belief in the mind, and they are just strengthening the mind. But real manifestation, if we're talking about like that, it happens beyond the mind. And when you kind of realize that, and stop like feeding feeding your mind with these things, then there starts to be this calmness there, and then all these things can kind of start to unfold. And also the understanding will start to unfold, because the understanding doesn't come from the mind. It comes when the mind is quieted. So it comes through experience.
Yeah, the mind is also a manifestation in and of
Yes.
itself. And just like the character, it cannot understand itself, basically. So it's like, let's say you are playing a video game, and the character, the avatar that you are controlling, it doesn't know that you are doing it. It cannot understand why it is in this game, what if all of this is about, like why it cannot understand why she is the way she is, if I'm
Hmm.
making any sense here. And
Yeah.
also, when it comes to beliefs, all belief is built upon the core belief, thinking that you are a little human.
Yes.
Because does God have beliefs? Does awareness, which is God, have beliefs, or does it need beliefs to exist or to function or to be like the one that holds all of existence?
Yeah.
No. So instead
No.
of working on beliefs, I also made an episode like instead of working on each belief, go to the core and release the one belief that holds all beliefs.
Yeah, that was a wonderful episode. Yes,
Yeah,
it
thank
was.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was very important to talk about this, and it can really free you because, and even we can just show you something like invitations, but you are the one who has to go to them, or you has go for them. This is what I
Yes.
meant.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's all in the application, so to say. So you can listen and consume as much content as you like, but if you are not applying it, then you won't be gaining the experience that is the key, the direct experience of what we are talking about. Uh, Otherwise, it's just like mental gymnastics. You are kind of you think that you realize, and of course this is the way that it happened for me also. I thought that now I know now I know everything, now I've got it. But there was always something more, and that something more is comes from the direct experience that kind of then organically takes you where you want to be.
Mm. And also, when you are in this searching or seeker identity, there's moments where you are like, oh my God, now I got it. I
Yeah.
know it all. And you have like this temporarily high. And then some days later, or some hours already later, and you're like, okay, there's another question. There's the next question. But when you
Yes.
rest as awareness, you see, okay, a question is also just another thought. You don't have to follow the question
Yes. Yeah.
because it can come up and then, okay, there's a question, but you
Yeah.
don't have to do anything with it. And then it just dissolves. And
Yes.
yeah, that's it. And sometimes the answer will just reveal itself.
Yes, yes, yes. And I love getting insights and deepening my understanding, but it's not a prerequisite. It's not for me to get something. It's just like, oh, but this is delicious. Now I like understand this from another perspective, but it's not that I have to understand something. or I have to get something in order for me to get what I want in life. So it's totally different in that way. And also one thing that I would like to mention. Sorry if you hear something. It's my dog's nails scratching. So um, the manifestor identity, the kind of, there are many things that can be kind of damaging, but one thing that is damaging to your manifestation, if we want to call it such, is that the manifestor identity is the one who is manifesting. It's not the one who has this thing.
Aha, yeah, that's such
It's
a good
always in,
point.
oh, it's, yes, that's my point, like for my clients, like and what I talk about in my TikToks and things, it's the one who doesn't get, it's the one who manifests. So there is always something to do there, and that's why it's so important, kind of go to the end in a way, if we are doing like identity based manifestation, but to realize that all the ends are already there, and you are already everything. There is nothing to manifest.
Oh my God, this is such a good point because I went exactly through this whole manifesto identity. That's why it's so important. That's why we just wanted to talk about this because not so many creators mention this. But for me, when I discovered Neville and similar teachings, for me, it was like the holy grail. I built my entire life around this. Like so much attention just went into this and just reading his books and blogs and connecting with people who are on the same quote unquote path. And then
Mm.
we would feed each other's manifestor identity and thinking like, oh my God, we are on the right path. It's so exciting and wow, so special, so magical. Oh my God. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. And for many of us, it is a necessary part of this thing. Like, not all people are just waking up just like this. It can be a necessary part of it's this, and there is nothing bad about this. But if it's kind of, um, if it's good for you and your mental health, and you are happy, so you can do robotic affirmations all day if you want to, and if it gives you, you know, if it makes you happy, if it gives you what you want, and nothing of this is demonized, but what we did, like you did and I did, it wasn't good for us, and it didn't make us happy, in the long run, and it didn't give us our manifestation results, so to speak.
Source, your true nature is all inclusive. So it doesn't mean that now when you know, okay, the manifestor identity will keep just be on this journey of manifesting, then I am not allowed to meditate or to script
Yeah,
or to write
no,
something down or like
yeah,
to affirm or whatever. No, you can still do this, but really be honest with yourself and check from where are you coming. Are you coming
yes,
from wholeness and you know there's no difference between outer and inner world and you are just using your sixth sense, how I like to call imagination, to just explore who you are, what is all in your infinity? Or are you still using these very things in order to get something to show up in the 3D?
yeah.
And you can already feel where you are coming from. You can feel the energy behind it.
Yes, yeah,
So,
yes, and
mm,
it's not like that. It can taper off. You don't have to go cold turkey. But for many of my clients, they have like, when they come to me, they are in this manifestor identity like deeply, and then when they start to discover, okay, I am source, and they start to discover that they are actually not this human, and they get exposed to these teachings, and they also apply them. The key is to apply it in your life, everyday life, in different situations. Then all this desire to and need to consume a lot of content, to do these techniques, it kind of fades away naturally. And something else, because something else is replacing it in a healthy way. So it is also an organic and natural process.
yeah, isn't everything actually so organic?
Yes.
Because yeah, you don't have to ditch habits or stop doing certain things. It's still a character, and you can allow her to consume content or
Yeah,
whatever if she wants to, but also be aware who is doing that. And there's a
yeah.
part of you who just notices, who's just noticing what's going on. So, and you
Yeah.
don't have to forcefully stop something.
No, no, no. It comes so naturally. Okay, well, you just realize that, oh, but I haven't watched like this and this creators' videos for 2 weeks now, and I used to watch them every day or something like that. You just, because your identity is evolving, you are a different character, different identity now with different preferences. So it will be like totally organic. You just same things as with everything, so you can just grab your popcorn and see what your identity is going to do next, because she will evolve and things will be different.
Yeah, and that's beautiful to watch. It still
Yes.
occurs or unfolds like a journey, but know you are not arriving somewhere. You are already the arrival. You are the destination, and
Yeah.
everything just flows from there, or everything reshapes itself around you, not around your ego, around
Yeah.
your true nature. And one of Neville's most famous quotes, it's just it hits different now. So it's like when he said, "You are already that which you
Already.
want to be,
Yeah.
and your refusal to
Yes.
believe this is the only reason you do not see it." This doesn't mean
That you have to cultivate more belief.
yeah, or
Yeah.
it's not, he's not referring to the best version of you. And by the way, the best version of you is your true nature. But yeah,
Yeah.
now from the higher perspective, it means you believe yourself to be something completely different than what you really are, which is pure consciousness. It's when you attach yourself to the thoughts, the body, the world, and the apparent problems of the character, and how it uses desire and manifestation and hope to escape the misery.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even this may be an improvement of personhood, but it's like painting the cage instead of leaving it, and the door was always wide open. And
Yeah.
how? By going into the stillness and question the things you believe to be true.
Yes.
And self inquiry isn't another manifestation technique, it's the knife that cuts through the noise so that you can see yourself.
Yeah, that was beautifully said. Yeah, and what is kind of different in this thing that we are doing, if we're talking about manifestation, it doesn't mean that, okay, now I have everything that I wanted, everything appears magically. Although like instant reflections are coming at such a rate that I'm like, what's going on? But still, it's more about, because when we are doing manifesting in the traditional way, we are unfulfilled and we are trying to get there. But now with this kind of thing, like, okay, we both have desires in three, let's so-called 3D, that are still, we don't have them in 3D as such, but we are not lacking, or we are not unhappy in the way to the unfoldment. We are not waiting for the holy grail to appear in 3D, and that's the thing that gives us the peace and the clarity. And of course, everything is not like roses and rainbows, and unicorns the whole time. No, 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 it's not like that. But it's still the state of being, the kind of what's the baseline of state of being, is so much less in lack for me now than it used to be when I was manifesting.
For me too. And circumstances don't weigh you down so much
Yes,
anymore. Of
there's
course,
almost
there's
not
something,
triggers. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Of course, there's like things where, from the human perspective, you would think, like, what the fuck?
yeah,
But there's always like this underlying stillness, and there's peace that I never felt before. And I'm not kidding, guys. I had um, psychedelic experiences, and they were beautiful. But after I was coming down, and after the afterglow was over, it was just going back to this old human identity, or just
Yeah.
partly at least. And now it's like, no, the foundation is like this underlying peace and this stillness. And I would even say the stillness is so loud, it's so present, and that's so beautiful. And I even want to say that you don't have to do anything, or you don't have to believe what I'm saying. Just pick what resonates and leave what
Of
doesn't. But I just
course.
want to say that you have to want to be your true nature more than your human desires. Because sure, your desired reality is beautiful, but still it's a golden cage. So it's like the perfect human avatar. It still has limitations,
Yeah.
and it all comes and goes. Even marrying your specific person, and the ceremony is temporary, and a wealthy, soft life may last for years, but that's also fleeting. And
Yeah.
my point is, the human character, the body, the experiences, the world, they are all fleeting experiences, a light show, if you will, moving pictures, but you as the stillness remain. And when you come from the place, as Tina said, where you are already whole and complete, and you don't attach yourself to either negative or positive experiences, you are free, and you can enjoy these beautiful things even more, because
Yeah.
you know they are not here to complete you. You cannot be completed or fulfilled, because you are fulfillment itself, and you are whole. You have always been that. But they are just add-ons, just like expressions of you, and then you can enjoy them so much better.
Yeah, and there is so much like less attachment. And if I would have listened to a podcast like this a year ago, I would have been, they are trying to sell me. They are trying to sell me this thing. How can they say that this is better than what I want, like my stuff? And I never would have thought that I am in like in this space now. But it is for real, and it is an experiential thing. And then you kind of realize that when there is less attachment, uh, things flow easier, and you don't actually have to give up. You don't have to give up on anything. You are just like gaining so much more, because if we think that what our true nature is, the pure awareness, like the existence, the everything, all that is, like how can it get better than that? And I think that there is this urge to know your true self as yourself, like to identify with that part of you that is who you really are, because otherwise people are always kind of longing home, to go home, and that is the home. And
Yeah.
there are so many like ego desires that actually stem from, maybe from this urge, that okay, this primal urge to know yourself and really be at home. And that is where the home is. It's not a place here. It's who you actually are.
Yeah, home is where the heart is, and the heart is just a symbol for your true nature.
Yeah.
And guys, when you look, where does desire even come from? Just like, where does everything actually come from? You will always be pointed back to the one thing, your true nature, our true nature. And manifesting your desires is not a means to an end. And that's what I also wanted to say before. So, yeah, you might experience all of your desires in 3D, but you will also get used to it. And when you think, okay, your happiness is based on these things, your happiness, this kind of happiness, will also lessen. And then you are
Yeah.
looking for the next thing,
Next
and the
fix.
next
Yeah.
thing, and the
Yeah.
next thing. But when you know, okay, I am happiness itself, and these desires, yeah, they are beautiful as they are, but they don't complete me, they are just here for me to be enjoyed, then you don't make it a means to an end.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you stop the chase and all of this craziness.
Yeah, yeah, and everything gets gets so much easier. It doesn't mean that you don't have like, okay, I would like this little detail to go like this. Of course, you can have those kinds of thoughts and wants and things like that. It doesn't mean that you are desireless and you are just like on the mountaintop the whole day long. No, it just adds richness to your like let's call it your 3D human life, to have like a one foot in one world as your true nature and one foot in this kind of 3D experience and play with it all. You have to have just a buffet of things to choose from, and you don't choose from lack, you choose from, okay, well, this would be nice to experience next.
And this human character, it thinks it knows the way how everything has to be, but
Yeah,
your true nature is also like the synonym is also infinite intelligence, and it knows so much more than the human mind could ever comprehend. And so when you give yourself your human character over, when you surrender it all to the power that knows the way, and you actually get out of the way, guess what? It can show up in the most beautiful, unexpected ways that will really blow your mind. And
yeah,
it's also it's beyond logic. All
yes,
of this
which
goes
is
beyond
great.
logic. Yes. And there's no linearity, even though sometimes it can appear as such, of course, but mostly it's like because we also have to drop this human understanding of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a big one, maybe an episode in itself,
Yeah, we
but
can
yeah.
sure do that. So, guys, if you have questions, you can send them to us.
Yeah, yeah,
um, yeah,
yeah.
but Tina, what is now your view on revision?
Revision. I don't do it a lot because I don't do any techniques anymore. I kind of, if I try to do, and that's one thing also, that if I try to do, I was big on like doing my own little recordings of affirmations. But at some point I realized I don't even want to. I had an urge, like, okay, I want to listen to this thing when a trigger came, but then I was, nah, I don't need it. But revision, I don't do it as a technique. I think that I mostly just go for back to my decision or my identity, no matter like, you know, what happens or has happened. So yeah, I'm not very big on that. What's your take on it?
Yeah, so my perspective changed, of course. Um, and it's like when you think you want to change the past, it also just comes again from this one particular character who had this past. You don't have to deny it, but you also don't have to identify with it.
Yes.
So you know, infinite characters exist in you, and each of them has their own unique past, unique storyline. So again, if you find yourself trying to revise and there's resistance, of course, it's like the character who never had a different past. They will defend it. They will be like, no, but this happened. This was my journey. This was my story. And then, yeah, of course it was their story, but now you know you are not them. And for me it's not a technique, and it's also not consciously choosing to see things differently. It's just like being aware, like, okay, infinite versions exist within me, and each of them have their own storyline, including past, present, future, if you will.
Yeah.
And so whenever something wants to distract you, like thoughts or an experience, like an event or feelings, you notice it, but you don't fight it and you don't give
Yeah.
it your attention. You can
Yeah.
just go within and say to yourself, I am pure, infinite, limitless awareness, and you are timeless, your timeless nature, and this transcends the past and the future, and
Yeah.
it really transcends everything, if you will, and awaken, quote unquote, awakens you. to the true self, which you are now, which you have always been.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, like this identification is actually maybe the thing that made things click for me, a lot. Like really learning that I can disidentify from my feelings and from my thoughts, and by doing that I disidentify from this current character,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
identity in a way. And what you said about the storylines, which is great, which kind of ties in with that thing, that being more the one who is observing how things turn up, because we don't know when we choose, okay, I would like to experience like this end. If we talk about Neville's ends, living in the end, I am now this person who has, like, let's say, this $1 million extra, of this relationship. I am already this person, but I don't know, as a character, I have no way of knowing what the script of this person is, kind of, or how this kind of so-called 3D is morphing itself to make this thing happen. So I don't have to control anything, especially when I know that I'm not the doer,
Mm.
because we
Yeah.
can't
Very
know
good
what the
point.
script is. We can't know what the script, and this was actually what was going on in my Finnish Telegram, like, coaching group at this moment, that we just cannot know what the path to 3D path to the fulfillment of this thing is. So it's more like hands off policy, and just know who you are, like in the larger sense of things. And also, if you want to go for a specific identity, know that you are that already. And then there's actually nothing that you can consciously do. You are taking
Mm.
actions, and it can seem that, okay, well, now I'm doing this and this, and this will lead to this and this. Okay, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Yes. And God works in miraculous and mysterious ways.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you don't
And
have to worry about that.
yes. And speaking of doing, you know what I have been doing in air
Hmm.
quotes lately? I
Uh-huh.
just allow myself shamelessly to be lazy.
Yeah.
And you know, laziness is only seen as a shame when you think you are a separate human who has programmed to feel ashamed of certain things, who thinks it
Yeah.
has to achieve things, or who has to make shit happen, who doesn't have it yet, or who thinks the desired life needs effort to be manifested and to
Yeah.
be maintained. So, and you know, all of this is believing in the eternity of these fleeting experiences, or fully identified as this human.
Yeah.
But what I mean also is not lazy in the where you just rot in bed
Yeah.
and you never participate in this human experience. And this is also a character fear alert. So people think, oh my God, when I surrender control and stop quote unquote doing, then everything will fall apart and I will just have a miserable life. Oh my God. This is
Yeah.
just a character fear. And you can
Yeah.
also observe or check, okay, who is having this fear? Who is freaking out right now? Who feels threatened?
Yeah.
And really see and even go even deeper, like in what do these thoughts and feelings appear? And really check,
Yeah.
okay, wow, yeah. And then by asking these questions, there's already a sort of distance and you just
Yes.
identify. And so
Yeah.
what I mean here is total surrender and allow everything to come to me. And no
Yeah.
more chasing,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
more trying so hard to manifest. And
Yes.
really
Yes.
living,
Efforting. Yeah.
yeah, living from the stillness, the perfection as foundation, and not human chaos, which is just distortion. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's great. Yeah, and on the other hand, also people can go to the other extreme because they have heard that, okay, you just be, and then they think that it means not to do anything. That, oh, but I can't just, like, I can't just be. like, or I'm not allowed to do. Like, I think that Tom Kieran says there is nothing to do, but there is always action to take. So you can do whatever, or you can not do anything, and it still doesn't matter. We just think that, okay, doing is what gets things done, but that's just a belief, and that's an assumption. Everything always unfolds based on your identity and your choice, and on the script of the storyline. But you can also, if you are a big doer, you can also cut back a lot of doing. And on the other hand, it's not forbidden to do, or forbidden to be anything. There are no rules. You can be as so-called lazy as you want, or you can do as much as you want. Like, it's just that you don't get stressed when you're doing it, and you realize that, okay, I enjoy doing this. Is something that I enjoy. I'm not doing this because I think that this is the only way for me to get this thing that I want.
Yeah, because creation is finished. It's not
Yeah.
finishing. You are just resting in the knowing it's done. And also, do you really choose your actions? And are they even your actions? Or are
No.
you just watching the body move, getting up,
Yeah.
doing certain things, or an idea comes to mind and it just moves?
Yeah, and that's so beautiful. That's a kind of latest addition to kind of my toolbox, and it's great to understand this thing. But I think that this is also a subject that kind of, would like would like to have maybe its own episode if we don't have it
Hmm.
already. So this non-doer thing, because I think, but this is just my assumption, that it can be a bit difficult for people to understand that there is no doer, and the role of action or non-action. But maybe it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, it really depends on the character that each of us have been playing. And
Yes.
that's also the beauty of it. We as Source, we created individuality to experience all these kind point of views, these different point of views, and to have conversations like this and to exchange opinions and thoughts, because
Yeah.
otherwise this human experience wouldn't make sense.
Yeah. Would
And
be very
also,
dull.
yeah, and also, guys, don't stress yourself out. There's nothing to stress about, and everything happened for you, even if your human character might freak out and label things, but everything has been laid out already. And it
Yes.
doesn't mean that you are like that there's like some sort of fate or
No, or an outer
destiny.
power, or
Yeah, no, no, no,
outer
no.
power. No, no.
Everything is
Okay,
already
that's
perfectly
called.
orchestrated. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
everything is already perfectly orchestrated, and it's just the natural unfolding of life, of yourself. You are life itself.
Yeah.
So this is really the end of manipulation and really living in the most natural way.
Yeah. Yes. I think that we covered a lot of ground
Oh
today
yeah,
also in one
definitely.
hour.
Yeah, so guys, really take it slowly and really don't beat yourself up if
Yeah.
something triggers you or doesn't make sense. We are just speaking from our
Yes,
experiences.
we just wanted to share kind of
Yeah.
our experiences, and everyone's experience is different. But if there is something that is of assistance to you, so I'm really, really glad about that.
Yeah, me too. And also trust yourself first. You have all the
Yes.
answers within you. That's why we have a magical thing called intuition. And if something doesn't sit right, just drop it.
Yeah.
You don't have to follow it, even if it comes from your favorite teacher. You can
Yes.
just
Yes.
drop it because you
Yeah.
are the guru.
Yes. Yes. Like self-trust, like someone said that it should be law of trusting yourself. And that's the thing, because you are God. You are God. So no rules. Trust in yourself, and make your own rules, and learn to experience yourself, like more deeply and widely, who you actually are.
Yes, and I will finish this with let go and let God.